New age definition of productivity has totally changed, but majority of the people don't understand this. If you think being busy, having tons of tasks at your desk, or your calendar being full signifies you're productive, then you're on a wrong path and you need to take quick action. In this video, I'm going to burst some of the myths about productivity and how you can master simple yet powerful techniques to improve your productivity so that you are ahead of others in your career, business, or anywhere that matters to you. Let's quickly jump in to the mind map. So I have segmented these into 3 parts. First one is myths about productivity and techniques to master your productivity. And if you stay till the end, I have few gifts for you. Are you ready? Let's dive in straight. The first myth I want to burst is being busy is productive. But the exactly opposite is true. Being busy signals either of 2 things. Number 1, you are not capable. And number 2, you are acting. If you want to be productive, you need to be free. For some of you, it might be a bulb-on moment. Let me repeat. If you want to be productive, you need to be free. You'll be able to connect the dots why I'm saying this as we move forward in this video. There is a big difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy is like taking lots of action, but lack of value and result. Being productive is like minimum yet powerful action, which will take closer to your goal. Let's take few examples. Spending hours clearing your inbox, your email box, to emerge only not completing your goals for the day. How about completing your 80% of long to-do list, but not getting your 2 most important tasks completed for the day? In these cases, you are busy whole day, but you are not productive. Now let's move to the second myth which I want to burst. Doing more things doesn't necessarily means productive. I have seen many people who always says yes and don't know when to say no and takes all the tasks that comes their way. Remember, less is always more. Overloading your schedule doesn't make you productive. It will make you less effective. When our to-do list is page long, it is guaranteed that we are not going to reach the bottom of them. And at the end of the day, feeling dissatisfied, pulled into multiple directions, and distracted than we were at the start of the day. Doing less is a game changer because it forces us to focus on what is important. Let's move to the third myth which I want to burst. Multitasking is super productive. I used to see this in every resume and hear in every interview that multitasking as a strength. It was considered as gospel of productivity. But the truth is, multitasking is counterproductive. We are more productive when we focus on one thing at a time rather than switching between multiple tasks. I believe multitasking doesn't exist because we can't do 2 things at a time. We are just switching between the tasks. What you feel hyper productivity, it is actually an interrupted productivity. Now let's move on to the fourth myth which I want to burst. Working without a break is being more productive. How many times you would have continuously sat without taking breaks and felt overwhelmed? If you think sitting long hours will help you productive, you are absolutely wrong. You may get high marks for your self-discipline, but you are not as productive as you wanted to be. There is a neurological reason for that. I'll explain you that in my next segment. Now let's move on to the fifth myth which I want to burst. Time is not most valuable asset. You must be thinking what BS I am talking about. We have grown up listening to this. Time and tide never comes back. It is most precious and valuable asset. Do not waste your time. Many so-called gurus might not agree with me, but time is not your most valuable asset. My mentor says, focus is your most valuable asset. It is with how much focus you spend that time will determine your productivity and result. It is not about spending 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours in your office, at your work. If you do with focus 6 to 8 hours, you can do as much as you could have done in 16 to 18 hours. So it is focus which is your most valuable asset. Now let's move on to the sixth myth which I want to bust. Motion equals action. People mistakenly think that being in motion means productive, but only being in action means productive. Although both sound similar, they are different. When you're in motion, you're planning, you're researching, strategizing something. They're important, but do not produce any result. However, action delivers an outcome. Let's take few examples. If I outline 10 ideas for a video I want to record, that's motion. If I actually record and publish, that's action. If I go to a gym and inquire, that's motion. If I step under the bar and start squatting, that's action. Motion is important for planning, but majority do it because motion allows us to feel the progress without risking into failure. We can procrastinate action, but it will just delay your success or failure. With that, let's go to the next segment, which is how we can master some of the techniques to improve your productivity. So the first technique is find your prime time. Ignore the dogma of early morning routines. Gan about getting up early to be successful because everyone is unique. Actually, you need to find your prime time. What is prime time? It is a time of the day according to your body clock when you feel most energized and productive. Whether you're an early bird, night owl, doesn't matter. You need to find that sweet spot through trial and error when you feel your best. Harnessing your prime time will supercharge your productivity. In my case, I feel my best during mid-morning, 9 to 12. What's yours? Now let's move on to the next technique. Technique number 2, focusing on most valuable tasks. Once you found your prime time, tackling most important and most strategic work will enable you to stay motivated, make steady progress, and most importantly, you love what you do. As I told you earlier, having a long laundry list of tasks will leads you nowhere. Focusing on everything means doing nothing. Now the question is, how can you segment valuable task versus not so valuable task? I found 2 principles very useful. So the first one is two-list strategy by Warren Buffett. And the second method is Ivy Lee method. Let me explain you these methods quickly. As you guys are aware, Warren Buffett is one of the richest men on earth and one of the most successful businessmen in the world. That means he is good at time management, managing his productivity and money. What he tells us, list out all the tasks you want to complete on a daily or weekly basis and bucket them into 2 lists, list A and list B. List A, describe and write down what are the top 5 tasks out of all those tasks you have listed out. That is on list A. And in list B, all other tasks. List A is the one which you are going to focus and complete. and least B you are going to eliminate. What I could understand with this is you need to understand the power of elimination and focus on what is most important. It is not easy to prevent us spending time on something which is easy to rationalize, but that have little payoff. And the next method is Ivy Lee method. Ivy Lee is one of the famous productivity consultant during 1900. His methods are very simple. The first step is at the end of the day, every day, list out 6 most important tasks you want to perform next day. Do not list out more than 6 tasks. And the second step is prioritize based on the importance of that task. And the next morning, when you come to the workplace, you focus on the first important thing. Only after completing the first task, you need to move on to the next task and so on. And repeat the process. These methods may sound so simple, but it's not. It pushes you to take tough decisions because there is a limit of tasks you can perform. It removes the friction of starting, and it helps you focus on one thing at a time. Now let's move to the third technique, which is chunk it. If you remember, while going through myths, I didn't explain the science behind why working without a break is counterproductive. Let me explain you that now. The human brain naturally works in bursts of high activity that last about 60 to 90 minutes. Then it switches back to low energy or low activity. When that happens, it is in your best interest to take a break and detach yourself completely from work, only to come back with high energy and high focus to complete the task. So, chunk your month, week, day and your task according to this to improve your productivity. Now let's move to the fourth technique, which is avoid distractions. Most of us have a habit of checking gadgets in between the task and thinks that it will de-stress and increase our productivity, but it won't. Do you know that any interruption or a distraction to our focus, it will take 20 minutes to come back to the same level of focus. So avoid any distraction during task and check your gadgets while you are on a break. Now let's move to the next point. Fifth technique is fall in love with boredom. All of us have goals and dreams, but it can be difficult to stay focused and stick with them because your goal, your dream may be attractive, but the path to reach there is not always attractive. I keep hearing people saying that I start with great focus, great energy, great motivation, but can't seem to maintain the consistency. We think that successful people have unlimited reserve of passion and motivation. Don't worry, I used to feel the same. But the truth is, successful people feel the same lack of motivation as the rest. But the difference is, they still find a way to show up despite the feeling of boredom. As author Will Durant says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. You need to fall in love with the process, what you do. In other words, you need to fall in love with boredom. You need to fall in love with repetition. You need to fall in love with the process of what you do on a daily basis and leave the result to take care of themselves. Now let's move to the next point, which is last and the sixth technique is 5-lens approach. Whether as managing a large team or now as an entrepreneur, any task that comes my way or maybe team's way, I will put that task into 5 lenses. First, I will see whether I can eliminate that task. If I can't eliminate, can I automate that task? If I can't automate, can I delegate that task? If I can't delegate, can I outsource that task? If I can't do that as well, then only I will do that task. So it is very important to have an employer mindset. There is a big difference between an employee mindset and an employer mindset. When you own a task, you need to think like a business owner. Then you will come up with these 5 lenses and you will see whether you can eliminate that task, whether you can automate, delegate or outsource without you do that. So that is going to be the last option, so that you have free time and you can have high productivity. So these are the 6 powerful techniques which you can use to improve your productivity. So now let's move on to the next segment. Those of you who stay till the end, I promised I'm going to give few gifts. So the first one is I'm going to give you this mind map as a gift. So what you got to do is type asksunil.com in the browser and type PROD in the messenger, and you're going to get a downloadable link which you can download and use this mind map. And the second gift is I invite you to be part of my community. I don't take everyone. I only work with people who are action takers and serious about creating their dream career. If you're one of them, let's meet live. What you have to do is you need to register with this link, and this is a 90 minutes free workshop where I'm going to explain you in detail how you can create your dream career. If you found this useful, please comment below what are your top takeaways from this video, and is there any other ways or techniques you have used for increasing your productivity. I would like to read each and every comment of yours and I'm going to respond back to you. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.